When nature talks, I'm not supposed to hear.
I mean, not in your room or anything. You touch people. Just, you know, under your soil. What?
It's not only practice, you have to choose well to take care of the environment as well.
Yes, that's true. That's a part of it as well. That's another quite important thing. Quite important thing as well. Does somebody want to pass these along? Now, just to give you a bit of a flavor, these are wild roses from the beach. They're kind of sticking together, so you have to delicately take them apart and eat a petal each.
What did you do with them?
A lot of people think that we added all sorts of things to it. We haven't. Try to smell it. These are just incredible scent, and they taste amazing. And it is simply wild beach roses with the vinegar on. And I brought these because just to show how we're planning our winter. And this one is one of the quite big winter components. We gather 100 kilos of this every summer. And you can imagine how much space that is, actually 100 kilos of rose petals. And then we pour over apple vinegar, and then we leave it. These ones are actually from last year, from the summer of 2010.
So you won't use rose petals in your summer dishes?
Well, then we use them fresh.
Okay.
Then we use them fresh. These are delicious.
Hoe smaakt dat?
Yeah. So they're kind of sticking together, you know, you have to take them apart. One petal should be more than enough to get the flavor out of it. So the idea of actually extending seasons and making sure that we have a strong and big diversity through winter is quite a big thing. And this year we have almost 1,500 kilos of food in storage, where 100 of them is this one. And then there, yes?
So, I just wanted to know, this we can do with lots of different flowers.
Lots of different flowers.
With other flowers?
Oh yeah, we also do it with elderflowers, for instance, which is obvious. Usually you only make it, you make cordial of it, you make it the sweet syrup. But in vinegar, it's amazing. And then you can eat the flowers during winter. They're amazing. Really good. You should try it, and they're amazing if you have a very, you know, like a fatty piece of meat, thin slice of that, and just sprinkle these flowers on there. And during a hot and cold winter, it just gives a moment of dreams, you know, putting you in a different place. So, yeah, we have quite a lot of these things. In all sorts of ways. One of the things we experimented this year was salting gooseberries. Today, the makers we had sauerkraut or surkål, yeah, which is, I guess you do that here as well, no? It's a big thing. So, and what is that? That is a lactic fermentation of the cabbage. You add, depending on where you're on the world, you add 1.8 to 2% of salt. And then you leave it at ambient temperature, and with time it ferments. And then we tried that with so many different things. But one of the best ones was actually doing it with gooseberries. Salting gooseberry with 2% salt. They are not fully ripe gooseberries. And the fermentation occurring there is just magical. Not the gooseberry itself, but the liquid that comes out of it. It's just turned out to be one of the biggest discoveries for us, because it's, do you know meboshi, which is a very complex plum liquid, which you usually see in Japan. This is the best way I can explain it. It has those type of tones without being that. But, you know, we're going into that direction. Yeah, very good. And then we have many other things. We have unripe elderberries, we have green juniperberries that we salt. We have, this year we're trying with unripe plums. that are, you know, an unripe plum is completely not very delicious. In fact, it's horrible. It is super tannic and disgusting. The texture is very hard. But have you ever tried an olive straight up the tree? No, an olive straight up the tree is unedible.
Yes.
It's unedible. You can't eat it. You need salt. The salt is the magic. That's an olive becomes an olive in the salt. On the tree, it's unedible. So with the inspiration of that, we're trying this with all these types of unripe fruits to see what happens. And unripe plums, so far, green plums seem to be very, very, very promising.
And so does it mean you're much busier in the summer because you're planning ahead so much?
Yeah, we're more busy in the summer. Summer is definitely spring. We plan all the harvesting during March, April, so when we just come out of winter. And then we hire every year a project manager for 6 months.
Especially for that.
Especially to make sure that we have everything, finding the areas in nature and kind of structuring it. It's a very, 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 very big work.
Because all your suppliers, you go out and find them? Because you have a whole chapter on them. Or do they come in?
Well, this is a few of them.
This is just a few.
We could make a book of suppliers, and we have.
Very colorful characters, aren't they?
Yeah, very.
Yes.
These are some of the ones that wanted the photo taking. You should have seen some of the others. Well, you know, these people are amazing because and these people don't get enough credit.
No, but is this the first time, because of your restaurant, this is the first time you feel they're being heard? Or
In our part of the world, I think so. And also we're actually helping them get reasonable prices. A lot of these people, they are so devoted to what they do, they have no idea what they're worth. They have no idea what the product is worth. They have no idea of marketing or selling.
Give an example of one person, so to make it a bit more...
Well, there's one person which is the biggest success. He's a farmer. 15 years ago, we had almost entirely monoculture of carrots, and you know, he says himself he was extremely good at growing carrots. The better he became in it, the less he could make. This is a problem that you see in a lot of farmers that have monocultures. And he had a small piece of his land as some type of exotic, utopian idea of his trade, him as a farmer. And he sold that for a few people, a few restaurants. And then we started 8 years ago, and we connected with him, and we started inspiring each other, and he starts experimenting, and we start growing, and you know, it's just one big chain of reactions. And today he has no longer monocultures. He's a complete polyculture, growing 10 types of cabbages he has this year. And he's the one that discovered with us the vintage carrots.
And does he
and
just
potatoes.
produce that for you?
No, not anymore. Now, well, a few of the things, yes. He doesn't have a lot of it. But now he sells to many restaurants out there.
Oh.
That's one example. Another example is a Swedish guy. He's in there as well. As the one who looks like Father Christmas. You know, he was a forager. I write this in the book as well. He was a forager, and he was actually a biology teacher.
A forager is someone who go and collect.
A forager is a person who go and collect nature, but he was a biology teacher. Then he became older, and he started losing his hearing. And obviously, teaching is out of the question. And then he thought, well, I'm still a fairly young man. What am I going to do with my life? I've taught biology, and that kind of led him into the wilderness, starting to explore that and harvest all the abundance there is in Sweden. And then, we connected almost when we opened, within the first 3-4 months. He was just started, we were just started, he heard about us, he thought maybe I can start here. And today he has a large farm where he processes all these foods. He He has 5 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going really, really well for him.
Business.
It's a business. It's a full-time business for him and his wife and the 5 employees.
That's the whole, the environmental, that sort of bother you, are you worried about it?
That
Well, the pollution and things are changing.
it didn't before. Now that the more that you realize that our trade is completely depending on nature, and the more of nature disappearing, the more ingredients you have disappearing. Well, I would say it a different way. You know, there's I'm concerned about it. Of course, you worry about it. You want to preserve things, but most of all, I want that there's a big palette of ingredients to cook with. I think this is going on. You know, I want a big palette of ingredients to cook with. You know, I want 10 types of cabbages to choose from. I want 15 types of lettuces because it will be better for the guests. They will eat and see more interesting things. We will have more things to cook with. And Michel Bras, he explains it in a more poetic way. He says that I need more letters in my vocabulary. The more letters, the bigger the sentences, the stronger the language. And I think that's an amazing way of looking at it. So you need to be a part of that to make sure that agriculture is healthy, nature is preserved, so that we have enough letters in our vocabulary.
I'm not supposed to hear. I'm not supposed